We've all heard the story. A quiet afternoon. A brilliant mind. An apple falls from a tree. And just like that, gravity is born. But what if that story is dangerously incomplete? What if the apple that struck Isaac Newton wasn't a random accident at all? What if it was something else entirely? A carefully timed anomaly? A deliberate nudge from the underlying code of reality itself? Tonight, we're going to challenge one of the most sacred myths in science. Not to dismiss Newton, but to ask a far more unsettling question. Were humanity's greatest discoveries ever truly ours? Or were we always meant to find them? The myth of the falling apple. The apple story is elegant because it's simple, a symbol of human genius sparked by chance. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Newton didn't suddenly invent gravity because an apple hit his head. That's a romanticized shortcut we've told for centuries. The theory of gravitation took decades of mathematical struggle, philosophical conflict, and intellectual isolation. The apple wasn't the discovery, it was the trigger. And that raises a disturbing possibility. Why that moment? Why that mind? Why then? If gravity governs everything in the universe, why did it wait for a single human consciousness to formalize it? Unless it wasn't waiting at all. Accidents that changed everything. Newton's apple isn't alone. Penicillin was discovered because of mold contamination. Radioactivity emerged from a photographic plate left in a drawer. Microwaves exist because a chocolate bar melted in a scientist's pocket. Again and again, the most transformative breakthroughs come from mistakes, interruptions and unexpected disruptions, not from precision, not from intention, from anomalies, from glitches. At what point do coincidences stop being coincidences and start looking like a pattern? The pattern beneath the chaos. Humans are exceptional at recognizing patterns. But what if we're not inventing them? What if we're responding to them? Across history, discoveries tend to cluster. Entire revolutions of knowledge emerge almost simultaneously across different cultures, as if ideas are unlocked when reality allows it. Calculus was developed independently by Newton and Leibniz. Evolution was formulated by Darwin and Wallace at nearly the same time. The structure of DNA was uncovered only when technology and minds aligned perfectly, as if the universe waits, as if knowledge becomes accessible only when certain conditions are met, or when certain individuals are activated. Reality as a program. Now imagine the universe not as a chaotic explosion, but as a system. A vast evolving framework governed by parameters, thresholds, and constraints. Modern physics already hints at this. Quantum mechanics suggests reality behaves differently when observed. Simulation theory proposes that the universe may function like an executable process. Information theory places data, not matter, at the foundation of existence. In software systems, bugs aren't always errors. Sometimes they're signals. Sometimes they reveal hidden layers of the system. What if Newton's apple wasn't a random falling object, but a debug message? A moment where the universe briefly exposed one of its core rules to a conscious observer, capable of understanding it. Were discoverers chosen or triggered? This is where the idea becomes unsettling. What if certain minds aren't just intelligent but compatible? Compatible with receiving specific insights. Not everyone could have turned a falling apple into a universal law, not because others weren't smart, but because they weren't tuned correctly. Just as a radio only receives certain frequencies, perhaps some human minds are better receivers of reality's deeper signals. This doesn't make them divine. It makes them interfaces. The illusion of free will. If discoveries are triggered rather than created, what does that say about free will? Are our thoughts truly spontaneous? Or are they responses to stimuli we don't consciously perceive? Neuroscience already tells us that decisions begin forming in the brain. Before we're aware of making them, we experience choice, but the machinery starts moving earlier. What if inspiration works the same way? What if your greatest ideas aren't born inside you, but pass through you? Choice still matters, but here's the critical distinction. Even in a programmed system, outcomes aren't fixed. A notification can be ignored. A signal can be misunderstood. A moment can be missed. Newton didn't invent gravity just because the apple fell. He invented it because he asked the right question afterward. The universe may provide the nudge, but interpretation still belongs to us. Meaning still requires a human mind. The unseen architect. So what or who is behind the nudge? Is it God? Natural law? A higher dimensional intelligence? Or simply reality unfolding according to rules we haven't fully mapped yet? The truth may be far stranger than any single explanation. Perhaps there is no architect, only emergence. Or perhaps intelligence is woven into the fabric of existence itself, not watching us, not judging us, but guiding the evolution of understanding through subtle pressure points. The next glitch. If this is true, then the question isn't whether the universe will reveal more truths. It's when. And through whom. The next apple might not fall from a tree. It might appear as an AI anomaly, a mathematical contradiction, a physics experiment that shouldn't work but does, or a thought in your own mind that doesn't feel entirely like it came from you. A final question. So here's the challenge. The next time you have a sudden insight, the next time an idea feels inevitable, the next time something clicks without effort, ask yourself, did I discover this, or did reality allow me to see it? Because if Newton's apple was a glitch, then the universe may still be debugging itself, and we might be part of the process.